Welcome back. Episode 7, week 7 with the Obsessed with Balls podcast. Nice.
Only getting more and more obsessed.
Oh, every day, I think
mean,
a little bit more
come
obsessed.
on now.
You say that, though. I will say I'm a little down on the NFL right now.
It's easy to get down.
Yeah.
It's easy
When
to get
when
down.
your team goes out and performs like absolute dog shit.
Hey, cheers to the Saints. Cheers to the Saints. Much love. Much love. I understand what it's like. And, with the Saints, you have to give a little bit of grace to a rookie quarterback. And
Well, Rattler wasn't
Yeah.
the problem.
yeah, well, and that's what I'm going to say, though, is there's a little bit of reason of optimism there. He didn't have a horrible game. Sure, stats, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions.
Yeah.
But for a rookie quarterback, and if you look at some of the other rookie quarterbacks, like I'm going to always bring it back to Caleb. His first 2 games were really bad. Really bad. Like I don't know if there's any other way I can say it. It was not good. And now you watch him and it's like, oh, is he about to be a star?
Yeah, I mean, he's looked really great. The throw, the throw.
Keenan?
To Keenan.
Oh my gosh. I wish we
that
could
was-
play footage on this.
Yeah, we'll
Because-
figure it out one day.
I mean, we can show. Well, you got to pay him. you
Yeah,
got to pay him
yeah,
a lot
yeah,
of money.
yeah,
I mean, but wow. I mean,
that was a fucking.
and that was a chemistry throw.
Yeah,
Not every quarterback's going to trust every receiver to make that either. That means they are connected because there was so much trust there. And I wish I could bring up the still here, but Keenan really had the option on that route to sit on it.
yeah,
But he decided to attack the linebacker and go deep into the end zone.
yeah.
Not deep, but you know what I mean.
Yep,
Go
yeah,
past
yep.
the linebacker because he was on an option route there. And he said, fuck it. We're going to do this. And took that. And the only throw you can make is that back shoulder throw.
Right. And I mean, it was on a rope. I've seen Caleb makes a lot of bad throws, but that was on a rope. Which brings me to another point, and we'll get into regularly scheduled programming here in a second. But did you see the throw from Rodgers to Lazard on number 43? It was probably mid third quarter on a rope. I mean, he threw it. I couldn't even. It was like it was watching.
Look,
I
love turning on Jets games to watch Aaron Rodgers get sacked.
Yeah.
But one of my other creative endeavors is on Monday nights. And sometimes I have the game on. This past week, I wasn't able to have the game on. So I did catch some of it, but I didn't see that throw, to be honest with you.
Those were the 2 best throws of the week. But yeah, well, let's move right into it. And
Yeah, well, I mean, we have some big news happening in the NFL here. We have some trades going down. And 2 big ones we have right now is Amari Cooper to the Bills, and then, as probably expected, Devontae Adams to the Jets. Chris, what are your thoughts on these trades? Like, how does it impact those teams? What are your initial thoughts?
Well, I mean, first of all, I think the Bills really needed it. Like, the Bills are obvious. Like, they're a team that they have a couple bad losses. Not bad losses. They're not bad losses.
Games
but
they probably should have won.
games
Like,
they
you
should have won.
You would think the Josh Allen-led Buffalo Bills would win.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So they needed a guy. And Amari Cooper is a guy who's going to be able to step right in immediately and make an impact on the game. I think he's a solid player that is a perennial Pro Bowler and he's just going to find his way to continue to make better. And now he's got one of the best quarterbacks in the league throwing the ball.
Let me ask you a question. How many interceptions has Josh Allen thrown this season?
Zero. So you give him a threat now.
It's pretty wild. And he's going to help Keon Coleman's development too.
Yeah. I was really high on Keon Coleman coming into this draft. He was the guy I wanted the Saints to take. I remember when he went off the board, I was a little upset. I like his talent. Like there's a lot to say about a guy who's really good at catching the ball in tight coverage. You know, I get it. Like separation. This is a league that's going to a like all about, do you have the ability to create separation?
Yeah.
But like I don't think it should ever be let alone the value of a guy who can catch the ball in tight coverage. He did, like, it wasn't a drop, it was a PBU.
Yeah.
But I mean, there was a catch that he's kind of known for making these style catches, kind of an over shoulder thing on about 30-yard throw on the 3-yard line that he ended up not coming down with. But I think he's a good dude, and I think Amari Cooper's gonna help that situation.
Amari Cooper was playing like lights out at the end of last season.
Yeah.
On a not very good Browns team.
Yeah,
he
I
made
mean,
Joe Flacco look pretty good, you know?
Yeah. Joe Flacco still slings it a little bit.
I'm not trying to diss Joe Flacco.
No,
that's
I know,
for sure.
I know.
But look what the Browns look like.
Yeah. They're not very good. They're not a very good football team. But I think the other one, look, Davante Adams is a playmaker. This is where he wants to be. You know, he's already done this once with going to the Raiders to play with Derek Carr. How does it work out the second time? Obviously, Aaron Rodgers is a much better quarterback than Derek Carr. I don't care how much you hate Aaron Rodgers. It is inarguable that Aaron Rodgers is good at football.
I've never even questioned how good of a quarterback he is. I question how good of a person he is.
Yeah.
Lying to the entire NFL about his vaccination status, and I don't care. This isn't a political podcast. I don't care. Do it, don't. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. But
don't lie about it.
But like, don't lie to all your teammates, the entire, like, your colleagues in the NFL, the other players who do care.
Yeah.
The fact that he did that, I just don't think he's a good person. That's why I really don't like him. Like, even Brett Favre has done bad things, and he tormented my childhood. But, like, I don't hate Brett Favre.
Yeah.
I don't hate Brett Favre. I don't hate Davante Adams.
Yeah.
I just hate Brett Favre. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, because I think he's a bad person. He's a piece of shit. But phenomenal quarterback. And maybe if he were a better person and a better leader, they maybe would have won more Super Bowls in Green Bay when he were there.
Right?
Because he was playing some of the best quarterback play that's ever been played.
For
How
sure.
do you only have, one Super Bowl?
One.
Yeah, one Super Bowl. And now you see him on the Jets throwing players under the bus. He was going to be on the red line, so I threw the pass.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be there. You don't have to say it that way.
No, you don't. But
he
Mike
did.
Williams,
But
Mike Williams looks bad right now.
Well,
Mike Williams is not playing well. He looks like he's not playing football at
he gets
the
hurt
level
every year,
that he should be.
and if you get hurt every year, you're a shell of who you are.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Do you think there's any other teams that are like big time buyers or sellers here in the coming up? Because this is week 7.
Yep.
Next week, week 8, that's the end of the trade deadline.
Yep.
That's where the trade deadline hits. Like,
I mean, look, I think we both know where we're going with this, but the Hutchinson injury, I think, makes the Lions need to be buyers.
Yeah.
And there's a team that is a big seller right now that has a guy that could immediately make that team right back in it.
Are
And
we
that's
talking
the
about
Browns.
Max? Yeah.
Well,
the Browns.
oh,
I was there.
wow.
Are we talking about Max Crosby?
I love that one too,
Yeah.
but I don't know if the Raiders
So you're
are
talking
going to
about
sell.
Myles Garrett.
I'm talking about Myles Garrett. I don't know that the Raiders are going to sell. I think with the Amari Cooper trade, you're at a point where you're showing that you're going to sell.
Yeah.
And I would love to see Myles Garrett go to the Lions. One of the things that I was talking about would be interesting. Look, if you got Crosby or Garrett, I think Crosby and Hutchinson have a very similar style. I wonder, like, what would be better? And I pose this question to you. What would be better? Two dudes that are the same style of pass rusher, or two dudes that are kind of polarizingly opposite in the way they rush the quarterback in Garrett and Hutchinson, like when Hutchinson comes back next year.
This isn't the answer you're looking for. Those guys are all so good, it doesn't matter. You know?
Yeah.
But I think, of course, having variety for your play calling, being able to switch players. Like ultimately, you want to have two different types of rushers.
Right.
But I don't think it matters. And I know Max has said he's going to be a Raider for life, but he's like, but if I did play for a different team, I'd want it to be the Lions.
He looks like a Lion.
I think he's from Detroit.
He is from Detroit.
Yeah.
But he looks like a Lion. The way he plays is very reminiscent of the rest of the way that team plays football. That's who I think. You kind of posed that you think the Vikings should be in a buying mentality.
They're undefeated. There's 2 undefeated teams in the NFL.
But you think they should buy?
Well, they kind of just did. They just traded for Cam Akers.
Oh, I missed that.
They traded for
When did
Cam
that happen?
This week, a couple days
Oh,
ago.
I
2 days
missed that
ago.
one. I missed
Yesterday.
that one.
Maybe yesterday.
Okay.
I mean, when you're undefeated, this is the NFL. It's a year by year, day by day, week by week, whatever league. And when you're undefeated, going into week 7, it's probably time to buy.
Yeah.
Why
not?
You gotta, ride it. You know.
Yeah.
Ride it while you can.
What do you think they need?
Well, honestly, I don't know the Vikings roster well enough. I definitely know like the Packers better.
Yeah.
Because that's where the Bears rivalry is. I don't like watching Vikings games. I don't. You
just don't like that purple, do you?
There's a lot I don't like. And actually, I do kind of like Kevin O'Connell, though.
Yeah.
I do kind of like Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah.
Those sorts of things take a lot for me to say. But
I know.
Even before the season, like I was like, Kevin O'Connell's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But I really don't know enough.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, it never hurts to get a weapon, but I think you just give Brian Flores another player on that defense.
Well, that's what I was saying. I mean, I think pass rusher.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like, I don't know if you could ever have enough pass rushers. Like,
well, and if you're the Vikings and you know the Lions are in the hunt trying to make a trade, I think you drive that price up or you get that extra pass rusher.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be upset. I'd be a little like, is this the time to do that? I wouldn't be mad at the Bears if they were trying to drive it up too.
Yeah.
Because the Lions are trying to. I just think like that division is so hot, which kind of brings us to this next segment. If you're comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Which is that we're about to have, the NFC North is right now the best division in football. All 4 teams lead the NFL in point differential.
Wow.
Yeah. It is crazy. And like there's never or it's been so long since there's been like this many wins, because what you have 2 5-win teams and 2 4-win teams, I think. So there's 18 wins right now and 5 losses. The NFC North is 18-5. They have the 4 highest point differential teams, and we're about to see number 2 going to number 1 on the, Detroit Lions at the Minnesota Vikings. Like, if you like football, you have to watch this game.
If you don't like football, you should watch this game. This is I mean, look, man, I remember growing up, and this was Niners Cowboys. Like they weren't same, like it wasn't that like this, it wasn't what was going on right now, but like that was those things. Like if you got a Niners Cowboys game in mid-season, like these were the 2 teams that
Bills,
you knew.
Chiefs.
Bills, like this is it. This is fucking it. This is everything that football is.
Yep. And this is where the cookie really starts to crumble, if you will.
Yeah.
Because now no NFC North team has played each other yet. This is the first one. And like they're all going to play each other. Every divisional game, the NFC matchmakers are wild for doing this.
Yeah.
In the second half of the season here. I mean, it's not really the second half because they added another game, but basically the entire round of divisional games for the NFC North here are happening in the second half. And this division's going to get shaken up. Like, no matter how good these teams are, somebody's going to be the odd man out here.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's really hard to pick because, the Vikings are the surprise team to me of the season. I think we agree on this, right?
100%. I think we talked about that last week. And I think one of the, like, to to piggyback on everything you're saying, I think one is like, what happens to the Vikings if they lose this week is a question I want to pose, right?
Yeah.
Or are they who they've been?
If the Vikings lose to the Lions, you're saying?
If the Vikings lose to the Lions,
Yeah.
are they going to be able to come out and come back, right? Like whoever it is after the Lions. Like you lose to the Lions, that's okay. You're tied for the division
you're
lead.
losing to the Lions who just lost the heart and soul of the defense, maybe the heart and soul of the team.
No, for sure.
Who was on pace to break the NFL sack record this year. So, if you lose to the Lions, who are missing that piece, I think you have to have some level of concern.
Yeah. Well, the thing is I hear that, and I don't look. I think I've been wondering when the ball is going to drop. You know, like when are the Vikings going to come back down to earth? And what I think will really be the tell, win, lose, or draw, what happens next week.
Yeah.
This is the game I want to watch. This is the game I want to fucking just sit in front, crack open a cold beer, and open your popcorn. It's fucking time for a fucking show. But what is really, I think, going to be the tell of the Vikings is what happens the following week. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Like if they lose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can they bounce back?
Can they bounce back? And once again, like, okay, you showed up, you beat your division rival. If they win,
I lied, by the way. The Vikings already beat the Packers.
Okay.
At Lambeau. Right? Because it was the Aaron Jones homecoming.
Yes.
I'm
yes,
lying.
you did.
I apologize. I'm a liar, but I caught myself.
You did catch yourself. But like at the end of the day, like I don't think you're far off, right? That's one, there's a lot coming. The Bears are coming around, you know what I mean? Like we already talked about it. Caleb's looking unbelievable. Let's see what happens. It was the Panthers,
But I will say about the Jaguars.
And the Jags.
He killed both those teams.
Right, but you're supposed to.
And as a Bears fan, when we've thought we were good, we lost those games. Or we won by 2 points. I love the balloons. Where are these balloons coming from?
The balloons are great. But yeah, so there is it really it's you missed it, but it's coming down. I mean,
you have to beat those teams like that though.
Yes, exactly.
So it doesn't mean that we're going to beat great teams this year.
Yeah.
But if we barely won those games, which is like the Bears of last year,
yes,
then you're not as good as you think you are.
Yes.
But we have a chance to be as good as we think we are.
Yes. And
that's all I'm saying.
And I want to, I want to ride. You know me. Love riding. Bring up my boy Jaden.
Well, I don't want to get into it. Don't get me going.
I'm not going to get you going
because that's next week's podcast.
But
that's next week's podcast.
But
you can say whatever you want.
Don't
get me going.
They also we're going to wait, but they also have beat the teams they're supposed to beat.
Yeah.
And they're competing with really good teams.
Well, and they've really beat teams they shouldn't have beat in theory at the start of the season.
Right.
So definitely props to the Commanders, who I think just lost Daron Payne. Is that his name, right? They just lost their DT.
Oh.
Yeah.
Didn't see that.
Oh yeah.
In the Ravens game?
I saw the news. I don't know if it happened in practice or in the game.
Oh, okay. It might have happened in practice because I don't remember. I watched that game.
It was either in the game or the day after. I don't know if they've had practice.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure they lost Payne. I don't know if he's on IR or he's just out for a couple weeks. But yeah. Well, so kind of tying into this here. Whoop. Un momento, por favor. I kind of want to look at the NFC North here, just a little deeper.
Yeah. Let's dive in here.
Let's take a look here at the NFC North and let's talk about. Whoa, there's my applications. Let's talk about strength of schedule coming up because I'm going to continue to say this team is going, or this division is about to go into a grinder. Like, yeah, these teams have all won a bunch of games, but we're looking at Chicago, Detroit, Green Bay as having the toughest 3 strength of schedule. Yep. And a little bit of that's because they're playing each other.
Yeah.
You have Minnesota
and the Vikings, obviously.
Yeah, you have Minnesota down here at 11, which is probably because they are the undefeated in that.
Yeah.
But there's no way these teams come out
unscathed.
Yeah, like this is going to get rough, you know?
Yeah, I mean, so you look at Chicago, you got to play the Vikings twice, the Lions twice, the Packers twice, the Commanders, the 49ers, and the Seahawks.
Whoa.
That's brutal. You know,
yeah, I mean, we get
like you get 2 cupcakes, but like you're telling me that Arizona can't show up?
And what's crazy is it's like I might have the Arizona and the New England game flipped, but I'm pretty sure it goes Washington, New England, Arizona, and then it's the rest of those teams.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's brutal. But you know how I feel bad for? Carolina and Cleveland are so high on this list. I just kind of feel bad for them. They're both so bad. They're both so bad, and they're both so high on this list.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know, and what's crazy is, you know, Detroit and Green Bay both play the Texans. You know what I mean? So that'll be interesting to see like how they fare against similar opponents. You know, and then you all have to play the Niners. You know, how's that gonna fare? You know, yeah. So it's interesting. I'm glad you pulled up this.
Yeah, it's really entertaining.
This is top tier right here, Brett. This is top tier. Top tier.
If I could zoom in on his face right now,
I
would. But this is the best I can do. This is the best I can do.
Top tier. Love to see it.
We have no funding for this podcast.
No funding. But we'll figure it out slowly. We're having fun. I mean, look, I've already you know my take on the Packers. I think they're frauds. I'm looking at that and I'm like, all right, Packers going to lose to the Vikings. Packers going to lose to the Texans. Packers going to lose at least 1 to Detroit, at least 1 to Chicago. Packers going to lose to San Francisco. Packers going to lose to the Seahawks.
Well, and I think in the NFC North, a lot of those divisional games are going to be split.
Yes, 100.
I think I could like see each one going 1-1. Just because like even last year we were talking about this, like the Bears had a devastating loss like in the last minute against Detroit last year. And then they went on and beat them in the second game.
And that Detroit team was really good at football.
That Detroit team was great, and the Bears were not that great. But somehow we kind of like had their number. We put pressure on Jared Goff, and like they didn't play that well. They're a better team than that.
Yeah, for sure.
They were a better team. They're still a better team.
Yep.
Same thing, like, and I know you're not a big Green Bay believer, but I have to kind of take some of my bias aside and say, I don't know. Green Bay looks good. And, like, I could see them beating Minnesota the next time they play them.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. I just think it's hard to I think it's hard to go to Minnesota and beat Minnesota when you lost to Minnesota on your home ground.
And they have a tricky one over here. That's fair. They have a tricky one over here. Because if Tua comes back,
what happens to that world, right?
Yeah,
what happens in that world?
Yeah, because there's a chance that Dolphins game is tougher than like at this moment you would think.
Yeah.
At this moment, it's like they're gonna crush the Dolphins.
Yeah,
but Tua might be coming back after week 8.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, he says he's coming back.
He says he's coming back. If he says he's coming back, he's coming back.
And if I'm the Dolphins, I'm playing him.
Yeah. Look how many of those teams got the Saints on their easiest opponents.
Yeah. Well, no comment.
All right.
Yeah, I don't want to upset you. Let's move on. Let's move on.
Just move on. Well, what else were we going to talk about?
Well, I want to talk about something. I read a really interesting stat this week, and that's that Justin Herbert has thrown for 815 yards, and he's on pace to throw for 2,771 yards. And so my question is this. Are his talents being wasted and not fully utilized in Los Angeles?
Well, I think for me, the easy answer is yes. I think he really got fucked by having just terrible coaching.
Terrible coaching.
Terrible coaching. And now I think he's got a great coach. I think they're going to win football games. I think they're building things the right way. I think they're turning around. Scotty Ruggs talks about the Giants and how the Giants look and how the Giants are like making moves in the right direction, right?
Yes, they are.
I think the Chargers are doing the same thing.
I think so too.
But at the end of the day, will Justin Herbert ever fit into the style of play that coaching tree is going to create?
Yeah. Well, and that's why it's not that like, is he not going to be successful there? It's just, are they not going to fully utilize what his talents are?
Which are grip it and rip it.
Yeah. Yeah. He is definitely phenomenal.
Yeah.
And, a little on topic, but off topic here is like, this is kind of one of my season predictions here, which is that I'm taking a look at the Chargers schedule and I'm like, man, they have it easy.
Yeah.
So,
I got him. I got him in.
Yeah. So I think they're going to sneak into the playoffs here. I think they might actually win quite a few games. They don't play very many good teams here to finish the season. And I think they might get blown out in a wild card game.
Yeah, I can 100% see that happening. Look, anything can happen come playoff time.
Absolutely.
If their defense is healthy, their offensive line's healthy, they're able to run the ball. If the thing is, I don't know, who are they going to have to play though?
Well, that's why I think it's a blowout because
you're looking at them playing the Ravens, the Chiefs, or the Texans, or
well, some people might say the Bengals.
I think the Bengals are going to make it. I don't think they're going to be playing the Bengals in the first round.
I know. I'm just messing around.
I'm gonna ride my boy Joe and Jamar, dude. They're hey, go Tigers. But
the Bills,
the Bills. If you're playing as a Chargers team, you're playing one of those four teams. You got to play beyond perfect football.
Yeah.
And all four of those teams that I just mentioned are going to get better than they are today.
Yeah.
By the time December comes.
Yeah.
And January comes. You're telling me that the Ravens aren't getting better every week?
They definitely are.
They look unbelievable.
That is my preseason Super Bowl
prediction. I remember.
And they are looking
pretty
good.
They're looking very good. You're telling me that you want to play the Chiefs in January? I don't want to play the Chiefs ever.
No.
And then the Bills go out, as we talked about earlier, grab an actual legitimate number one wide receiver. They're not getting worse.
If you were to pair Justin Herbert with a coach and a team, where do you see him? I know we didn't talk about this before, so I'm throwing something wild at you here. Where do you see him having the most success? Where do you think he actually could be fully utilized?
All right, so this is wild.
This is
wild.
I love it. This is what I was looking for.
This is wild. I think I don't know about the coach, but I think if you put him out in Jacksonville,
whoa,
and you let him do what you're trying to let Trevor Lawrence do,
who's like a poor man's Justin Herbert.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
I think that would be really cool. Obviously, I think the Clint Kubiak and the Saints with Olave and Shaheed, it's with the speed that Shaheed has, being able to have somebody that can just go over the top and get it, and having two good tight ends as well. I think that he could make the Saints. I mean, he would have been. Look, dude. Obviously, the Saints defense was horrific against Tampa Bay in the second half. But how many times have you talked about the leadership and how guys are going to play?
I do believe in that.
You believe in it a lot, and those guys just gave up. Those would be my two, I think.
I got a wild one for you here.
Yeah.
The Dolphins.
I mean, yeah. I don't know.
Could you imagine, he's just as accurate as Tua.
I think he's more accurate than Tua.
Yeah, and could you imagine the arm?
I mean,
with those
Tyreek,
receivers,
just throw it.
Oh my God!
Just throw it 60 yards on a rope.
That team would become unstoppable
instantly.
How wild would that be, though?
But I mean, what he's under contract for how many more years?
I don't know. I think they did.
I thought I saw something like 2029.
They had to have given him a contract pretty recently.
Yeah, I think I saw something like 2029.
Because what draft class? Who was he with?
Joe.
Yeah,
Joey B.
And so, did Joey B get? When did he get a contract?
This year.
Yeah, right. Because like, are they the year before Fields?
Are they?
Or are they two?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I thought that was like, because Fields went.
Because Fields is on his 4th year.
Fields went 1
11.
overall.
11.
Were they not the same?
The Fields year was the Trevor Lawrence year.
Which was the year after.
Okay, the year after.
Yeah.
So like, because this year is Fields' 4th year, and so he could be on his 5th year option next year. But typically, that's like a team's probably going to lock up their quarterback, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, God, that's those. Not. I mean, he's played 5 games.
They've had their bye already. Yeah, I think.
So they're 5 games, not 6.
Yeah.
815 yards. That's not a lot of yards.
No. Caleb almost threw for that in 2 games.
I know. I mean, fucking Derek Carr.
Yeah.
Almost threw for that in 2 games.
Wow, I forgot his name in the last podcast. I must be trying to like block out Vikings mojo here from my
Sam
brain.
Darnold.
No. Who's on the Falcons? Jeez.
Oh, Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins threw for over 500 in 1 game.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. I mean, I get it. Like, you pound, and having a quarterback that then can convert is all you need. But the amount of money they're paying him and the type of quarterback he is, I think they're wasting talent with him. And I would, if it were me, and I am not an NFL coach, I would be trying to build a team
Around
and
him.
an offensive system around his talents.
Yep. I mean, that's what they did.
I don't think that's happening. It's like when they told Jay Cutler in Chicago, we're not going to run. Lovie Smith said, I don't like cutting off half the field with a bootleg. So they didn't run bootlegs. But when he was in Denver, when he was in Denver, he was a Pro Bowl quarterback.
When he was at
running
Vanderbilt,
bootlegs.
he was out here running fucking bootlegs.
But let's not do it because I don't believe in it, and that's the stuff that I'm worried about with Justin Herbert is we're not going to get to see him reach his true potential in the NFL because he's trapped on a team that is not going to do it for him.
Now, my question is, what level of winning makes that go away?
A Super Bowl.
What about an AFC Championship game?
Nah. Because you know what? No one goes, you remember that year Rex Grossman went to the Super Bowl? Nobody.
Everybody says that. Everybody says that because Rex Grossman had no business being in a Super Bowl. Rex Grossman was not a good quarterback. Everybody remembers when Rex Grossman lost to the Colts.
But the way, like, the whole point of the NFL is to win Super Bowls.
No, for sure.
The way you write your name in history is winning Super Bowls.
Yep.
And if we're going to see a guy that can throw for 5,000, throw for half of that, then we're going to need a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Otherwise, as a fan, I feel like I got robbed of seeing what he can do.
Yep.
Otherwise, you win the Super Bowl and you go, well, it worked.
Yeah.
Whatever.
No, for sure.
And then he holds his ring up and he goes, I don't care.
I don't care. No, 100%.
Well, all right.
Well, hey, cheers to another
Let's get that
successful week.
I'm empty here, though. I'm empty here.
We'll crack it.
Let's get ready for this Vikings-Lions game, though.
Man.
I'll be happy because one of the teams I want to see lose is going to lose.
Cheers, bud.
Thank you, everybody.
Peace.